Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RedSeaPodcast. Welcome back to what I may even need to call the RedSeek podcast because, as you all know, as I've been updating you and as you can hear from my very, very crackhead-ish voice, I'm still not at 100%. I'm still nowhere near 100% actually, but I'm much better. I'm much better and I'm better enough to hopefully not completely kill my vocal cords and be here with you all to talk about what we saw. As you all saw, I had the title pre-prepared, but I changed it due to what happened, of course, because as much, and let's get right into it because there's no point in actually delaying it. As much as it would have been an extremely positive night, the curse of being an Olympiacos point guard, I guess, strikes again, and in a very, very unlucky play. As Montemoris, I'm pretty sure it was the end of the third or the start of the fourth. I'm not completely certain. Monte tries to go in, picks up a rebound, and then as he falls, his ankle completely twists and he just stays on the ground. Now, a lot of speculation has been given. There is probably news coming out, something will probably come out as I am recording this, which I will update on earlier, but right now we're basically on a blind image. We don't know the severity of the injury. We don't know how long he's going to be out. The general consensus is that the ankle is a very weird place to injure because someone did point out the example of Sasha Vezenkov going down with an ankle injury. Pretty sure it was last year, but in the end being just out for 2 weeks. But the ankle can also keep you out for a year, knock on wood, if you injure it as severely as an ankle can be injured. So the main point, the main focal point is for a swift recovery to Montemoris, who had just started finding his groove here at Olympiacos, finding his rhythm, finding his shooting form, feeling his body, keeping up with the Euroleague pace, which was basically the main thing in which we had put our focus on, and he himself had put his focus on ever since coming here. And hopefully, I can only pray for it that we're not as cursed as we look to be. Because if all this saga with Keenan happened for Keenan to come back, all of us be right behind him, for him to miss the season again, for us to go on this whole saga again, to pick up a player, an incredible player like Montemoris, for him to pick up his groove as well, find his rhythm as well, for him to be injured again and be out for, and again, hopefully not, long time, is something, it's gonna be something unexplainable for this club at this rate. So I am hoping to everyone above that he's out for like 2 weeks, a week, and that it's nothing serious. Of course, as anything comes out. I sadly can't keep a real eye on it now. But I will update right after the show. Even though I doubt anything will come out today, but we'll see. Which is arguably worse as well, because of just the blind spot and the worry. But the main thing is for Monte to ultimately be hopefully okay. Hopefully okay. Because it's, okay, they talk about the team, the cares, the absence of an incredible guard again. But again, for the player himself, like Jesus Christ, finding his groove, finding his rhythm, only to just get horribly injured. Hopefully, as I said, it wasn't as bad as it looked. We're talking about something unpredictable, so hopefully we're fine. Hopefully he is fine. Moving off of that to some bigger, hopefully, positives, as the game itself, of course, thankfully proved to be a comfortable performance, a comfortable victory of 95-80 as expected, even though it did come in a bit of a weird way, it did come a bit late, as the first half was very even. The first quarter especially ended with us behind by 2. Then we picked up the offense, but the defense didn't really pick up until the third. But of course, in the third, stuff happened as intended, stuff happened as needed, as wanted, and with the third quarter itself having a score of 24-14, and then, of course, finishing it all off in the fourth, despite a very fighting Bayern, a way better Bayern than expected, with some specific standouts, but ultimately not enough to keep us down. Now, if there is any complaint today, again, quote unquote, because you can't have any real complaint aside our goddamn lack at this rate, it's the long range efforts which left us at a disappointing 9 from 33 on the night, even though mid-range efforts were 24 from 33, which left us at a 33 from 66, a bang on 50% from the field goal. Rebound dominance, thankfully, no real contest on the bigs tonight as expected, with the rebounds being 35-23 on our end, assists 25-16 on our end, stuff and stats as expected. But again, it's all overshadowed. It shouldn't be. It really shouldn't be, but it's all overshadowed. But one of the biggest, more specific, positive examples of the night is Sasha Vezenkov. Sasha Vezenkov, who is someone I've been yelling about all season. Sasha Vezenkov, who I personally said that I am demanding more of a player like Vezenkov, despite his 15-5 nights, which are more than good. And again, I never said that I demanded more of Vezenkov, and I know that Sasha demanded more of himself, and he's showing that. And it's not because of the role, it's not because of the contract, it's not because of the mentality or anything. It's because we're talking about talent-wise, maybe even the best player in Europe. And he knows that himself. And lately he's been showing that the momentum and his confidence has completely shifted. And it really looks like, again, we have the Sasha Vezenkov that's scoring 25 for fun, putting up 25, 3, and 4 today, with, I'm pretty sure, with a steal to his name as well, and being the top PIR leader of all time of Olympiacos in general, deserved, of course, but even if you didn't look at that incredible achievement, you know who Sasha is. We all know who Sasha Vezenkov is. We all know what he can do, and this consistent form of the past few games is what we should be wanting from Sasha, and most importantly, it's what Sasha should be wanting from himself, because that's what Sasha can do. That's what Sasha can give to the team. Speaking of the best of the best, speaking of someone that's still somehow being underappreciated, speaking of someone that really went under the radar for his performance today, and somehow a player that's having the season of this caliber still can go under the radar sometimes, and that's Nico Milutinov. I'm still seeing the lists, I'm still seeing the comments, and we're talking about a player that's, of course, with the personal index rating, he is the best in the league this season, but you don't need the rating to show you that. We're talking about the most dominant big, we're talking about the best big in the league, and we're talking about someone that deserves to be in the MVP conversation. It's a clear sign. If we are talking about the most valuable player consistently over a season for his team, that's Nico Milutinov. There is one more as well, but I'll get into him after. Nico Milutinov, of course, missing last game along with a lot of people. Nico Milutinov that came back. We didn't know if he was going to be on minute restriction. We didn't know if he was going to play to his fullest. He played 23, scored 14, rebounded 8, assisted 2. But of course, Milu is the top offensive rebounder as well in the league. Dominated the paint, keeps dominating the paint without question, keeps dominating in general without question, bossing the front line. Now, as we will see, Tyrik's induction into the team as well, bossing the best front line. And I'll get into, I'm pretty sure I have Donda last on my list of notes, but I'll get into him as well because he's an interesting mix in this. But we're talking about the best big in the league, hopefully, given he's healthy, the third best big in the league. And then you're talking about a confident Donta Hall behind them. Of course, Kostas Antetokounmpo officially left earlier today, as we had reported. Excuse me. As we had reported a few days ago, he left on loan for the rest of the season to Aris. Now, what's there left to say about Nico Milutinov, honestly? He's amazing, he's incredible, and he really should be in the shout for that MVP trophy. Talking about another man who's back, talking about a man who's irreplaceable, and talking about this incredible comment I will tell my child about Ward's performance against Bayern. People forget very easily what a player can give to a team. People forget very easily the explosiveness a player can bring. Tyson, of course, played just 10 minutes today. 10 minutes of incredible impact. 10 minutes of incredible energy. and 10 minutes of not only waking the team, but the entirety of the Peace and Friendship Stadium, the entirety of SEF, right up. In 10 minutes, this man scored 10, rebounded 1, assisted 3, and had 3 steals. If I just left his performance at the stats, that would have been enough to show the impact that Tyson Ward has on this team. But it's not just the stats, because it never is. I saw a comment again. Something we had talked about, I'm pretty sure even the last time that Tyson Ward played. He has a very Papanikolaou impact to the team, especially coming off the bench. Tyson Ward doesn't only bring an energy and just a light up to the spark of the team. Excuse me, I need to drink some water because my voice, as you can hear, is going even more than it normally is. As I was saying, we're not talking only about that spark of passion that Tyson brings to a team. We are talking about a leadership type that Tyson brings to the team every time he plays. And I was going to say every time he plays well, but I don't think that Tyson has had a bad game yet with us. And I think it's more than safe to say, not just from the stats, not just from the energy, not just from the dunks, and not just from the defense. Because, oh God, is Tyson Ward crucial defensively. We're talking about a player whose impact is indescribable, and we're talking about a player whose impact is only matchable by the man I'm going to talk about next. And of course, that man is one I mentioned, and that's Papanikolaou. And again, that connection between them. Because I am gonna take a quote from Costa specifically. Shout out to him and shout out to the boys over at 307. Papanikolaou used to be very explosive when he was younger. Papanikolaou used to fly when he was younger, and he showed just a glimpse of that on the derby. And that's another reason why perhaps I myself, but the comments I'm getting as well, are seeing just that comparison between a possible impact that Ward is going to leave to the team and that he already is leaving to the team, and Papanikolaou. Because, of course, one of the main slogans of this show have been that when we have a good Papanikolaou, we have a good Olympiacos. And the impact, the true impact that Pap has been having, and the true passion that he's been showing, and the true improvement that he's shown over the past month, where he's had to step up. He's gotten a lot more minutes than he did at the start of the season, has been unmatched, truly. Today in 20, he put up 10, he rebounded 2, he assisted 4, and he had a steal to his name. And it really looks a lot like Ward is Pap's understudy in a way. And going back to Tyson and keeping that link together, God did people focus on the wrong Paris player last season, and God, am I glad that they did, because the true impact of one and another is showing a lot more this season, and I think that's safe to say. Now, moving on to this note, moving on to this quote, and moving on to the game that Evan Fournier had. Evan Fournier having a very weird one today. Being off the game for a while, not really his day, some mistakes, missed open shots, but in the end, it's the thing that clicks always with Evan Fournier. Of course, one of the most notable moments of the game is Evan Fournier missing some open threes, and then as we end the third quarter, hitting a double coverage, contested buzzer beater three from the corner, because that's Evan Fournier. But in 17, of course, he put up 10, 2 assists, a steal to his name as well. He had a very Evan Fournier game. Not up to his standards, but he had a good game. Now, Donta Hall. What is this man? What is this man? God. Going from building his confidence, building his form, to a harsh dip in form, a harsh few performances, a harsh general image, to then Tyreek Jones getting announced. And suddenly, past few games, something's just clicked again. And it goes back to the combination. Sometimes when a player gets brought in, some people find their role, right? And some people can play with more confidence sometimes when they have the right cover. And with a short comparison that I am going to bring up, that Donta Hall is very reminiscent of Joel Bolomboy. And I do agree with that in a sense. With the difference that Donta Hall didn't have his own Tyreek Black behind him. So his mistakes were a lot more on the spotlight. But now that Donta is going to take that impact third choice big role behind Nico and behind Tyreek, we're seeing him play with a bit more air, a bit more confidence, do his thing. And if he keeps up these performances, now that he won't probably even have the pressure of, you got to cover Milutinov, there is no one else, we're going to see a luxury third option. Let's not lie to ourselves. We're going to see a luxury third option. God help everyone stays healthy, because you never know with this team. And with 16 minutes, 9 and 6 today, along with 2 steals to his name as well. No blocks weirdly from anyone today. But yeah, we are just simply going to see the best front line in Europe by far, by a long shot, if these three all stay healthy and consistent. And now, suddenly and sadly, I'm gonna flip the mood a bit. I'm gonna speak about a more worrying side, in my opinion. That's Alec Peters. We know Alec, we love Alec, love his quality, anything and everything. We know what he can do. We know that he has a deadly shot. We know what he can give to the team. But the last few games, he's also had not an expected dip in form, but an understandable dip in form. Some stuff that's been said is a bit over the top. I don't know what's going to happen with Alec in general. I don't know how we'll move forward. This season is what matters now. And whatever is happening with Alec, whether that's a confidence issue, a time issue, a dispute, or anything in between, needs to be solved. And it needs to be solved fast. Next week, I was thinking if that's all that I wanted to say about this team, but honestly, there's no other thing to say, because even if you touch on the performances in more detail, it's all overshadowed by the injury. So hopefully we get good news tomorrow and can just properly enjoy analyzing the win that we saw. Next week, of course, we play Partizan. Next week, we're also a reminder we're not going to see Tyreek Jones again in the Euroleague due to a clause agreed with Partizan for Tyreek to not travel with the team. On one hand, that's bad. On the other, that's good. On one hand, that's bad because I would love for the player to get some Euroleague minutes with us slowly but surely. But on the other hand, it gives him more prep time, more time to get used to the team, to get familiar with the players, with how Coach B operates, and less pressure when doing so. So I'm happy with that. But again, bit of a weird close, but ultimately understandable. Exactly what I'm talking about. We're gonna have to wait a bit for his Euroleague debut, but we'll see what he can give in the league in just a few days. The Partizan game, I'm not worried about, especially with almost everyone, if not everyone, healthy. But there's still a very tough road ahead in general, and we need to be careful. We need to be at our best. Of course, if I'm not completely mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, the Fenerbahce game that didn't get played has been moved to late March 17th, if I'm not completely mistaken. So we won't have to worry about that for a while, but there is still a long road ahead. We stand 8th with a 12-8 record. Of course, game less than the two teams above us, which are, of course, Pana and Real Madrid with a 13-8. Then it's Fenerbahce with a 13-7. And then the top four stands at 14-7, except from Hapoel that stands at a 14-6 with their game against Paris postponed as well. That's about it from me today. I wanted to get back into it because I have left you all without anything for a minute. I'm glad I was able to keep up with the socials, even though I was sick. Especially the first day where I just spiked at that 39 point something 3, I'm pretty sure. Fever, I'm still able that I was that I could keep up with everything. And yeah, I'm glad I was able to keep up. And I'm glad I'm back. I'm glad I'm back normally. Still need a bit for the good old voice to get back to 100%, but I'll be right here. And I'll see you all probably on Sunday, as is the tradition by now to do the Super League shows on Sunday for all of the games to be done. And then we have a big week coming up, an announcement coming up that I can't make just yet, but it's certain, and it is for a game that's coming very soon. And in general, big few days coming up, big few weeks coming up for all of Olympiacos departments. But from me, as always, the show keeps growing. We're about to hit our first 1,000 on a platform, and that's going to be Twitter. Don't know why, but I'm not complaining. Twitter, of course, is where I interact with most of you, way easier. Of course, Instagram, TikTok, here, Spotify, and so on and so forth. Everything is below. But yeah, everything keeps growing, and I couldn't honestly express how grateful I am. I couldn't be more grateful. Big stuff coming. Announcements, interviews, and anything and everything. As I promised, this year's gonna be big, and it's starting very, very soon. Thank you all for making everything possible. See you soon.